I'm gonna just put new grade A hardware on this hoe because they just had like mismatched bolts from the bourbon, and just not a big deal though. I'd rather do that than fucking hunt them around. I've had one of these transmissions before, but it was a bigger transmission. It was a 400, but it was a metric TH400, I think. Anyway, but it would bolt onto a Pontiac Oldsmobile and to a small and big block Chevy, obviously. So it had a fucking Chevy bolt pattern and also the fucking BOP, the BOP, Oldsmobile Pontiac. So yeah. This shit also has multi-pattern. If you can see, those ears won't catch anything because that's for other type motor, but that's dope. Yeah. Anyway, this hole's on. Need some cleanup. Gonna fucking plug up these holes for the whole heater system. And I'm gonna make a little block off plate for this EGR valve that's not gonna fly anymore. I kept this bracket because it's gonna, that works with this fucking. Come out with the leaf springs, probably gonna lose the fucking lower back and the lock because it's gonna get airbags and shit. Which is golden for me better 100 times because that was the way to go. Just putting back together like a stock looking car can just feels better to me. So it's fucking dope. Okay, we're just gonna bitch on the floor. Well, I was happy that the fucking bolt pattern was the same. And it's actually the same as the car because they land in the same pattern that the fucking old rear end was on. However, in good orderly universal fashion, the fucking lug nuts are not the same thread pattern. That shit looks like half 20 maybe. I think I have some, at least one or two, so I can pop them on there. Yeah, so I fucking hate that gap from that touring seat that I put on my fucking bob, my straight bob out. So I got the original seat, or from a 2023, because this is a 2019. But some guy was getting rid of it on the fucking interwebs, so I jumped on that shit for cheap. I think I sold my original one for like 180 or something, and the food delivered it to me for 80 bones. So anyway, because I stole the fucking Corbin seat. Because I had a 79 shovel head Corbin that I'm gonna put on the fucking chopper. But now I'm gonna make this hoe a Springer. And I think I have everything I need here. I have an old Springer pan and some springs. I'm gonna get going on that. And this is an old fucking Springer pan that I had on my street bob. And will actually bolt onto a Harley. Hell yeah. And I'm gonna rub these fucking springs, chrome ones, low profile ones from this old bike seat. Should be golden. Tonight, who the fuck is going? Still could sit lower than that, but I have it on these tires, just kind of checking everything. But the spacers did kind of fly. Actually did fly. Could come out a little bit more, but they don't hit the inside anymore, and actually the tires are gonna roll. They're slammed, and I think I can still go a little bit more lower once it's dumped. But I think we're golden. It's looking pretty sick. Good thing the spacers had a lug nut that fit the fucking axle, and then I just put the spare one on top. That way, we can get lug nuts for it. Shims and those. That way, it's installed on the axle. get them on there because the hub from the axle's a little bit bigger, but just torque machine them on there, you know what I'm saying? Usually what they expect you to do anyway from Chinese. Damn it, boy. I fuck with it. That's as low as we're getting it without having to cut the frame or anything like that. We're still gonna run leaf springs. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, but Rabbit, why don't you do a 4-link setup? It's more expensive. And we're gonna fuck with it, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna put the leaves, then we're gonna put some helper bags, and it's gonna be done back there. And the front's gonna just be for coils. It's pretty sick, like a little tail dragger and shit. It's like 4 minutes per side. This motherfucker likes these plants that grow out here and shit. They be eating the roots and everything. So just crop them a few and bring them. Cute. These fools are all friendly and shit. Hey. All right. So I'm gonna actually run this leaf springs inboard, right, on this axle, and the leaf springs can land around right here, so it can run the original shock. And we're gonna end up putting the bag like right here, shit, because it could be off the center, because we're gonna run a little bridge on it, and we don't have to fuck with the original shock, and we can still keep the original leaf springs. Which this type of original leaf spring sucks, because it's like hella thin and you can't really put the blocks on it and shit like that, but it won't need the blocks. It's gonna slam to the ground without them. But yeah, you see that's gonna land there, and should get some hardware here and up front. I have maybe some. And the bag is gonna consequently land around. So like I said, these bags are helper bags. You can see here bolts in the axle. So we'll bolt around right here. I gotta undo this fucking brake line and take it off momentarily anyway. I still gotta fuck with the brake lines to fit the system anyway, so. And then this one got jacked in the moving of everything, but it's no big deal though. I have the fucking axle from the Bourbon, so they're all GMs swap in, and I'm gonna bend them around this bullshit anyway, so you don't fuck them up when you're hitting the switches or whatever. Valves, because they ain't really switches, they're valves with airbags. I guess next order of business would be removing these fucking bump stops by grinding down these fucking factory rivets. That shit ain't fun. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know that. So maybe I gotta roll this axle back out, clean that shit up, put that bridge that I'm talking to you about, and then we can move on. That bridge is also gonna go. I'm gonna undo these fucking body mounts, put the bridge, make the hole, and then run them again through it. I think I'm gonna use fucking some angle, C angle, and a long piece. Maybe my customer has some fucking steel laying around. Perhaps. That'd be easy. I have a round piece, but I don't know if I want a fucking round piece. This is a motor mount I split in half, and then I'm gonna weld it to the inside of the frame, utilizing the inner ear for the original leaf spring mount. And then coming out of the frame, you could actually see it there on this side. I already have it mocked up. And it gives me exactly what I need for the leaf springs and the shocks to keep the original ones, run this axle, and then these fucking helper bags. And that way I can slam to the fucking frame on axle with the clearance and everything. Should be golden. Hell yeah. She's in there, centered. Doing her thing freely. On the fucking purchase. Ready to get tacked. Pinion angle looks sexy. Finally. I still gotta weld those fucking ears that I made for the inside in. Gotta just tack this bitch in first up. Hell yeah. She's in there, centered. Doing her thing freely. On the fucking purchase. Ready to get tacked. Pinion angle looks sexy. Finally. I still gotta weld those fucking ears that I made for the inside in. Gotta just tack this bitch in first up. I had a fucking bust out the old sticker. Yeah, MIG's cool for sheet metal or whatever, but if you really want to get in here and do some fucking beads on it and make sure I ain't falling off on you, get in here with some fucking stick welding. If you can see here, we're at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is basically where all the GMs are on at. Zeroed out on the fucking -0 over here on the fucking transmission cross member, but everything should be golden. Burning her in. So I can put it on its actual tires on its own fucking sprung weight and move it over there. So I can drop the engine in it, and then I can do the bags and all that shit once got that shit going. Yeah. I don't know how much lower it is now than when it first came. But it doesn't rub there at all, and it actually has pretty good suspension still. Kind of. But yeah. We'll still see up with all the bags and shit. I just wanted to put the axle on it so I'm able to move it and put the motor and everything, and then figure out the rest of the drop and all that. Yes, it's sort of low. Let's do a cold start here on the old 74. I really don't want to break this piece. Somebody got those chrome mirrors for it. Let's see. I'll do it the old robbery style here because it's broken. Let's see. Damn, this bitch cranks the fuck up. Yeah. She's a good old girl. I just fuck with the carburetor. That's Edelbrock on it. Just little adjustments to it. Banged it around a little bit. Nothing too drastic. I am gonna change it out for a new piece eventually. I think this bitch high off them fucking Georgetown Geronimos. Yeah, let's talk not about the quest of bringing this hoe over here. already suspended on its own with the fucking modern rear end on some leaves. I think it looks pretty golden. The way actually I'm working it out here, I'm tying in deep from the frame with a strap and then pulling the hoist, so when I bring it up, it pulls it forward and I can work on this. While it comes in, I lift this up and... But before any of that happens, I gotta remove this here oil cooler. It's not gonna run oil cooler anymore because the radiator is different. And that's basically a base that is an adapter where the filter runs sideways now, and it's gonna be in the way of the mounts and everything anyway, so we're gonna get it back to mounting how it's supposed to, original style. All this dust is because of the fucking weather lately. I live in the fucking dunes. For anybody fucking asking stupid questions. Hey, where are you going? So, here we have super extra midget pygmy goats. That's crazy how much smaller they're born than the regular ones. So her name is Etna, and she's a full-blown pygmy dwarf, and so is him. So they have, these are half-breed American, half fucking pygmy, and because of the mom. So is Estella, but she's tall. Yeah, so keeping the original leaf springs, not cutting the frame. That's as low as it's getting without, like I said, cutting the frame and all that shit. And the bags will just help it ride better, I guess, or higher. But I think it's gonna ride good just like that. It's a pretty good amount of suspension still left, kind of. And yeah, it's not gonna get it any lower if we don't cut it up like a fucking 4-link, but it will get taller. So I don't know, if you put spokes on it, it'll be on the fucking ground for sure. And it comes into like a mental conundrum. This is bags the way you want to go. Probably. I gotta take that little transmission out of there. First order of business would be that. And then these mounts, I'm gonna remove them, but I'm probably gonna have to lop them, reinforce them, and reuse them to run some of these fucking clamshell style motor mounts off a small block. But yeah, like I said, I gotta remove that transmission and then more or less measure from that cross member to the mounts. Hopefully we're more or less around the ballpark here. Maybe I can just make a remounting cross member extender or whatever I'm saying. We'll see when we see.